All right. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to our very first council meeting of 2026. I'm going to apologize now for saying 2025, as I'm sure we have all been doing for the last week. We are obviously meeting here in person. We've got our Zoom component, and we are going to go ahead and start off with our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation by Councilmember Dunn, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us.
Father in heaven, we are grateful to come together in the new year. We welcome the sense of renewal, the new faces, and the new sense of being able to be part and to plan for our community. In your son's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll start with our roll call. And hey, I had it down really well. I don't know, let's see how I do tonight. Councilmember Darrow. Here. Councilmember Severs.
Present.
Councilmember Ball.
Here.
Kidding. Councilmember Klingler.
Here.
Councilmember Dunn.
Happy to be here.
Councilmember Fisher. You want me to stop with that or do?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Make sure.
Here, thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kurtz is traveling, so if we could have a motion to excuse her tonight.
I motion to excuse.
Second.
And a second.
We have a second by Councilmember Dunn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, she is excused tonight. So we will roll on to the agenda approval. So I will make sure I slow roll the meeting tonight a little bit for everybody to kind of get used to it. So with agenda approval, I first will ask for any motions to change anything on the agenda. So if you do have something, just raise your hand. I'll call on you. Oh, just hold on. Just let me finish what I'm saying. I'll call on you, make your motion to move X to Y. We take a second. If there's not a second, it dies. If it does, then we vote on it and we will move it. So I will go ahead and I'll do Councilmember Ball first. So do we have any requests for changes to the agenda tonight? Councilmember Ball.
Yeah, I'd like to move, I think it's 10A, but then I think it might be 10B, the vouchers. To general business, it would be item, yes, toward the end.
It'd be general business. You want it before or after the donation? My recommendation would be before.
Yeah.
Okay, so your motion is to move
10A.
10A to general business.
Correct.
A.
Sorry,
Okay.
the vouchers, if you want the vouchers, that's 10B.
10B.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, 10B,
Can you
sorry.
restate your motion then, please?
Yes, I'd like to move 10B to general business item action 11, whatever.
Perfect.
B, and then also,
What do we need to do one at a time?
Yeah.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all of those in favor of moving general business consent agenda item 10B vouchers to before general business A donations. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. All right, and the next one?
I'd also like to move 10M into general business, would be after the vouchers.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor of moving general business consent agenda 10M to general business before donations, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. All right, do we have any other requested changes to the agenda tonight?
Member, I
Yes.
ask item 10J be moved to general business.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of moving 10J, and all these will be going before the donations, to general business action items, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 6-0. Any others? And I would like to remind everybody, if you could remember to say, I move, state it as a motion, not can we move so and so. Anyway, just trying to bring some more formality back here. All right, so if there's no other amendments, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I move that the agenda be approved as amended.
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilmember Fisher. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. We have an approved agenda. Next up is citizen comments. We do have some here in chambers. So if you would like to make a citizen comment at the beginning of the meeting and you're here in chambers, we have our white half sheets by the door over there by the exit sign. Just fill that out and get it to Rochelle here at the end of the table. If we have anybody online, please send a note to our meeting host in the chat feature, and we will get to you after our in-person comments. And after that, we will address any written comments. We, as usual, 3-minute limit, any topic. Please keep your comments kind, respectful, and this is truly a comment period, no back and forth with the council. If we need to get back to you on anything, we'll make sure we have your appropriate contact information. So first up, we have Kim Schmidt. And I know it's on the sheet, but if you could also just restate your name, and if you live in the city limits, that would be wonderful.
Hi, my name is Kim Schmidt. I do live in the city limits. I was really hoping I didn't go first, but here we are. Wanted to take a moment to say welcome to the new council members and to the returning council members. I hope that this year and the years of your terms going forward look a little different. The world is a crazy place right now. And things are very different. Things are changing rapidly. They look different than when I was a kid, when you were all a kid. Liberty Lake as a city looks very different now than it did 25 years ago. And I urge you to please, as we go forward, take that into consideration, take our future generations into consideration. Right now, there's, like I said, it's a crazy world right now. There's a lot going on, but we're faced with a lot of different challenges than we were. Earlier I saw something on one of our community pages about, some concrete blocks being placed in one of the parks to stop kids from going back and forth on their e-bikes and stuff. We have drug epidemics. We have all sorts of crazy things going on. And I think it's important to understand that, looking forward, we need a place for our youth to be able to gather. I am unfortunately still hung up on this library thing. I would really love for our community to have a modern library. I would. And I know it was put up for vote, and I know that the people spoke. But I disagree with the process of how that got onto the ballot in the first place. That's just my opinion. I am a citizen and I'm allowed an opinion. For those of you new or returning, and I know I've heard some comments where maybe you weren't completely up to speed with the process and what happened in that 3 to 4 year period where the library was a hot topic of discussion. I urge you to please take some time and familiarize yourself with how that process went. Because I think if you sit down, you look at the bullet points of that, you could see it was a steady chipping away. Our community deserves nice things. Our police department needs to be able to expand. And the plan was to take over the rest of that building. We need a spot for our youth to hang out. Things are very different these days. Back in my day, you could get into a little trouble and I don't know, maybe wake up the next morning and feel horrible. Maybe your mom caught you, maybe she didn't. But today we're faced with something like one of my friends, kid just turned 18 less than a month ago, and a few days ago died of an overdose. There's not a lot of leeway. We're dealing with the younger generation. At least every single month, if not every single week at this point, is dealing with a once in a lifetime tragic situation.
Need to stop you.
Take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Brad Hamblin.
Well, good evening to the familiar faces, and welcome to the new year, and welcome to the new faces. I am going to start the new year with something very old, the library. Okay. And I'm going to, my whole purpose is to hopefully move us in a positive direction and think positively about moving towards a library. Okay, there's a lot of things that have taken place in the past. I do not want to dwell on the past. What I do want to say is that there were some things that did not occur that I feel should have occurred throughout the process to get to the library. It's already been alluded to. I asked the city, and I've asked before, why do we do these things if we're not going to adhere to them or at least pay attention to them? This was an assessment done on the library back in 2019. It is full and is very thorough in its review of the library and the needs of the library and the need for a new facility and how to go about doing that. I would urge you to review this whole document and look at it carefully. It's been said, we need things for our, we need to look to the future for our young people. This has been and is in every community that I've ever been associated with has been a bedrock for youth in their community. High schools, middle schools, elementary schools, people outside the area, all utilizing this facility for their children so that they can grow and they can learn and they can become productive people in the community. So I would encourage you to do that. I'm not saying that, but I'd also encourage you to think in terms of the vision for the city. In my opinion, I've been here 10 years now, we have not really developed an opinion for what our city should look like at build out, how it should feel, and how it should look. How are people going to come in to our city? How are they going to feel when they come in? I would encourage you as a new group and looking forward that we can give that a huge consideration. And with a vision, you have to have a plan. You have to have how you're going to execute that plan and how you want to get to that vision. And those are all big things, and they're all things that we'll have to consider moving forward. I'd like to say some more, but I'm out of time. But I appreciate your time, and I'm hoping that we can do some positive things together. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Lynn Atkins.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to share with you my concerns regarding the use of flock cameras. To be clear, these concerns are not about our police department, which I support and respect. They are about the technology and the safeguards for use around them. There has been growing concern nationwide and in Washington state with flock cameras, reflected in reporting by regional and national outlets, as well as a study by the University of Washington. In researching this technology, I found instances of misuse and questionable use outside of Liberty Lake. Examples include an officer using the system to stalk an ex-spouse, and an analyst with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office who conducted protest-related searches across 75,000 cameras, including Liberty Lakes. The University of Washington study also found that federal agencies, including U.S. Border Patrol, accessed Washington flock cameras thousands of times, often without the knowledge of the local department. This raises serious concerns over oversight and control, and these concerns have reached the federal level. U.S. Senator Edward Markey wrote to Customs and Border Protection on November 24th, stating that this invasive surveillance network poses a serious threat to individuals' privacy and civil liberties and may violate the Fourth Amendment, and requested the CBP to immediately cease using the technology. There are also public records and cybersecurity issues. A recent Skagit County court ruling determined that LPR images are subject to Washington's Public Records Act, prompting some cities to suspend their programs due to concerns about public safety and uncontrolled data release. Separately, on November 3rd, a U.S. Senator and Congressman asked the Federal Trade Commission the FTC, to investigate flock safety for negligent cybersecurity practices, including the lack of required multi-factor authentication and the widespread use of a national lookup system. In response to this, 16 states now regulate license plate reader systems. So I'm asking, is the national lookup feature active or has it ever been? Are we using multi-factor authentication? How is usage monitored and audited to prevent misuse? And are you confident that residents' privacy is adequately protected in light of the recent public record rulings? And as another note, by January 12th, one of our state senators will be presenting legislation to limit the use of the cameras to only 72 hours for retaining the data, and also to require a search warrant for other agencies in order to access that data. I thank you for your time and have a great evening.
Thank you. And I know the chief will be on later to probably address some of these. We fully expected the flock item to be moved off of the consent agenda tonight. So do we have anybody online who'd like to? Oh, just name?
Tom Sullivan.
Okay, great. Please, yeah, go ahead and promote him. Okay, Tom, I see your hand. Can you unmute yourself and we'll make sure we can hear you? Do we have to unmute him, Shane? There. Okay, I see you, Tom. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
You can. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, neighbors, staff, and electeds. Tom Solberg, Liberty Lake River District. Thank you for your service and welcome to Summer, Arlene, and Rick. I look forward to working with you all this next few years. During the last 2 years, we've seen our city council meetings become politicized and important initiatives workshopped ad nauseum. Too often, plans have been delayed with few visible outcomes. Our community is ready to move from discussion to delivery. As an active past city council member and current member of the Planning Commission and other commissions, I'm asking this new council to be agents of change and progress together. I suggest, 1, that you set a short list of measurable priorities for the first 100 days. Publish a simple public dashboard so residents can see what you are doing. 2, follow through with consistent public engagement that is connected to the priorities and give regular updates on progress. 3, trust our staff and our consultants. Stop the wasteful delays and misuse of expertise and time workshopping every decision to death. Finally, please model how we can work better together. You set the example. You set the norms for respectful debate, for welcoming dissent, and keeping the focus on results. Please lead with humility, transparency, and urgency, and you'll turn our community frustration back into trust. We don't expect perfection. We expect progress that we can see here in Liberty Lake. If you commit to these steps, you'll convert the last 2 years of drift into the next 2 years of momentum building by working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have anybody else online? We do not. All right, so I'll turn it over to Rochelle for written comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Lynn Atkins and Craig Bopes, both city residents, provided comments regarding flock cameras.
Great, thank you. And just a reminder for our new council members on written comments, because we do have time limits and everything, we make sure that you will have those written comments, and we only just note who wrote in about what topic at the meeting, because it would be unfair to try to read a written comment and run out of time. The main point may have been at the end. So that's what we do, is make sure. And if you do get a comment individually, please get it to Rochelle, and don't send it yourself to the rest of the council members, send it to Rochelle and she'll send it out to everyone. So I'll be doing a little bit of this educating the next couple meetings. Hopefully it's okay with everybody as things pop in my head. All right, so we are up to most fun part of the evening, we are going to have the oaths of office administered. I'm going to welcome Judge Leland to the podium, and I don't know what order we're going to go in, but he will be administering the oath to each of the new council members. It's kind of sort of our ceremonial thing that we do for everybody. So who do we have up first, Rochelle?
My understanding was everybody was gonna come together.
Oh, at the same
They would
time?
say their name.
Okay, we've done them individually in the past, but all our new council members. So Councilmember Fisher, Klingler, Severs again, and Darrow, if you can come up.
Mayor, this is very exciting for me. We thank you for the great partnership that we have with Liberty Lake. Enjoy the energy here and just thank you for allowing me to be part of this. I'll try to go slow enough so that we all keep together. I'm going to have you eventually state your name. I'll say I, and then you state your name, and then we'll go from there. So if you please raise your right hand. I, state your name, please. Do solemnly swear. That I am a citizen of the United States. The state of Washington. And the city of Liberty Lake. That I will support the Constitution. And the laws of the United States. The Constitution and the laws of the state of Washington. And the laws of the city of Liberty Lake. And to the best of my judgment, skill, and ability. Will truthfully. Faithfully. Diligently. And impartially. Perform the duties of the office of council member. For the city of Liberty Lake, Washington. As such duties are prescribed by law. Congratulations.
Can we get a picture, Judge, with you in it with the four, please?
Sure, and I can, yes. Okay. Thank you.
Judge, do you have any words of wisdom for our council members?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, show up every day and be yourself, be prepared, be courageous, be courage, do all of this with courage. I think that creativity is needed in leaders. I think that we have a great group here and looking forward to what this group can do over the next number of years. You are part of a great community, part of a great body, and I think it's exciting what a group like this can do. So anyway, good luck, God bless, and we'll stay in touch.
Great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we will move on to reports and inquiries. First up, we have city council. So this is a time when, this is more of a reporting time for things that maybe council members have attended over the last couple weeks, things like that. We do have another section in the agenda where we have upcoming workshop items, comments, things like that. So do we have any council members who have a report? Oh, I'm going to let Councilmember Severs go first.
Not a report and inquiry. I'm looking at the council workshops that we have scheduled, and I'm curious if we've moved forward at all on a date for, we've got a brand new council. We've got a date for the council retreat.
We will be, when we get to the workshop
Talk about that.
section, we'll go through some of
Great,
that.
thank you.
Yep. Councilmember Vol.
Yeah, actually, not a whole lot's been going on the last 2 weeks, but today I've had something on my mind that's really been bothering me. And I went to the county commissioners meeting this morning, I had never been to one before. It's regarding scraps. They've passed a resolution to the county to continue services from scraps, Spokane Animal Control Services. I'm sure you all know who they are. Anyway, recently some things have happened. In the past, and I think most of you probably know this, it was in September of 2024 where 14 dogs were put down in a single day, and it brought a lot of attention to what's going on at Scraps. They're supposed to be pretty strict about not euthanizing dogs. And by the way, for the new folks here, we have an interlocal agreement with Scraps. They provide our,
Animal control services.
yes, yeah, animal control services, vicious dog, missing dog, whatever. So recently it came to everybody's attention that they've had a parvo breakout at Scraps, and 5 dogs have had to be put down. That added to my concern. Now, when I got on council 2 years ago, like right now, they were changing from one executive director to another, and now they have yet another. So we are basically in 2.5 years, we're on our 3rd executive director. This raises red flags for me. And, I don't like dogs being sent to a shelter for care, or they lost their way, and, potentially being put to death. It's just barbaric, in my opinion. So I went to the meeting and I implored with the commissioners to look into what's going on at Scraps, and where did the parvo come from? How did it get in the door? Because when I toured the facility not long after I took office, everything looked fine. And and I thought, okay, this should be okay. They said they check all the animals when they come in for disease, and they have a surgeon there, a veterinarian. So now I'm wondering, well, then how did something as horrible as parvo even get into the door? So after the meeting, there's so much more to it. It's just so concerning to me. So after the meeting, the other thing too, I've been in touch by email with one of the Spokane County Council members who is been appointed by Mayor Brown to the Advisory Commission for Scraps, and he's concerned too about all of this. So, both of us are like, this is a mystery, like what is going on at Scraps? So after the meeting this morning, Mary Cuney, one of the commissioners, really appreciated my testimony and said she would talk to them, and they will come and talk to us. According to this ILA, they are required to come and visit us at least once a year and tell us what's going on over there. So I believe Mary will follow through on this, Commissioner Cuney. Now, in addition, a woman that was at the meeting introduced myself to me. Her name is, Diana Wilhite. She was the 2nd mayor of Spokane Valley. And so we went and had a quick cup of coffee, and because she wanted to tell me that she'd had concerns about Scraps too, because she had been recently caregiving for an older woman who tended to adopt a lot of cats, and she wanted to leave a lot of money to Scraps. So this Diana was concerned about this woman leaving the money to Scraps, not if things were not, copacetic. So she went and talked and has met now with this latest director, and has a good feeling about it. So that made me feel a little bit better. So yeah, they got a nice little bequeathment when she passed. So at any rate, it was just a very interesting morning for me. And, I've mentioned this before, but yes, Mark and Mayor, I don't know how we'll coordinate this with Mary, but she is.
We're already working on a meeting with Scraps. That's already been a topic.
Okay, but she's going to get them in here.
Well,
So
Mark's taken care of it. We don't need, and Mary and I are very close, but we don't.
Oh, I know.
We don't need the commissioners to schedule the meetings. We're
Okay,
following up
okay.
on
Well, I just felt good that I had her
Yeah,
support and that she
absolutely.
appreciated, because this really, really concerns me. I don't want to be giving them $12,800 a year to do, do their work for us if they're killing animals. So anyway, thank you.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
it.
Any other council reports? Not hearing any. Okay, I'll jump into my mayor's report. First of the year, lots going on. GSI, they have a new set of meetings this year. So the first one's actually tomorrow. They are calling it the Economic Indicator Dashboard Briefing. So we have one this week, one next week. So I'm anxious to report back on those during the next meeting and see what we go through. So that's the first of their kind there. We will also be having Friday mornings at, I believe, 9 o'clock. Mark, you and I need to reschedule our meetings, but they have their legislative update meeting every Friday morning at 9. It's free to sign up for. So if you guys have the time and are interested, if you get on the GSI website, you can sign up to attend those meetings by Zoom and follow what's going on in the short legislative session. SRTC board meeting is this Thursday. It's the first meeting of the year, and I take the chair's position. So I'm very excited about that. It's the small city's turn, and so yeah, excited about that. Not looking really at any changes. The staff over there does an amazing job. They are thorough beyond belief, and they continue to do excellent work. But I know, if assuming Councilmember Dunn retains his seat while representing us on STA, we'll continue to work closely together on some of those things because they kind of go hand in hand. AWC, the city action days are coming up January 21st and 22nd. This is kind of the kickoff to the legislative session as well. It's in Olympia. Mark and I are going. I believe Councilmember Fisher may be going as well. I'm part of the Education and Training Advisory Committee starting this year, so I'll have a breakout meeting while I'm there. I've already shared some thoughts after being part of AWC and part of the city for 16 years now. I've got some thoughts to impart with them, including a possible mentorship program across the state for new council members. So we're already talking about that. I'm also was appointed to the AWC board nominating committee that will start to kick up here in a couple months as applications come in for new board members that are voted on in the June conference. With regards to AWC advocacy, I have not found the sign up for their weekly debriefings. Are you signed up for those, Mark? 'Cause I couldn't find it.
Not currently, but we'll get the link out to
Okay,
everybody so
great.
we can get everybody signed up
Super.
who wants to be.
Yeah, and they do this similar to GSI. They have a weekly briefing on the bills and things going through. So I encourage you guys again to go to the AWC website. You can sign up for the legislative bulletin, the bill tracker, the Zoom update meetings that I just mentioned. And there's also a video there that tells you about how to sign in to testify on a bill if you'd like to. I've done it a couple times. I know our Planning Commission and Parks and Arts Commissioner Tom Solberg, who just made a comment, he testifies a lot. So if you want a tutorial, he's probably a really good person to get in touch with. And I've already made some notes about some bills that are coming up that I'll be participating in. It's a really great advancement over the last many years that Olympia has allowed this remote testimony, because in the past they rarely were able to hear from anybody from our side of the state. It was a big burden to go testify for 5 minutes. Greater Spokane Valley Chamber, we've got board meeting coming up at the end of the month. And then if you're interested, I think it's the 26th or the 28th, you can check their website. There is an After 5 networking event at the New Garner Hotel down the street from the STCU branch. So it'd be great to have a lot of our council members there to represent us at that networking event. Last but not least, Spokane County elected officials meetings start up again this month. They're once a quarter, and that's when we talk about some GMA issues and things like that. So that's a report on upcoming meetings for the rest of the month. I'm sure there will be more added between now and the end of the month. Consent agenda, just a quick note. So usually consent agenda items, as you guys have all probably picked up on, are things that nobody is expecting a discussion on, that we're voted on as a package. If you do have questions on those things, please reach out to Mark or the director with Mark and I copied. They will answer your question. If it's a question that we feel needs to be shared, an answer that needs to be shared with the rest of the council, they will get the question and answer sent out to everybody, so everybody has the same information that they're working from. If there are still concerns, like some of the things that were moved tonight, then we went through the process tonight. During the agenda approval, you will make a motion to move those, and so we will then have discussion. So nothing on the consent agenda that remains. we'll have any individual discussion. It gets motioned, seconded, and voted on for the consent. Yes.
So, Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
if I had a couple questions for Kyle
Yeah.
on some of the expenditures. And, so from now on, CCU, Mark, and then the staff.
On
member?
vouchers, not necessarily,
Okay.
but some of the other items, yeah, I'm not concerned about the vouchers because those are really quick ones for
Yeah,
Kyle
okay.
to
I just
answer.
want to make sure I'm following
Oh,
procedure, so.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking, but some of the bigger topics,
Okay.
vouchers, there's questions all the time. And I even have my own, so.
Okay.
Like we spent how much money on pencils? Oh, for the golf clubs? Councilmember Dunn.
Madam Mayor, from your report, is there a date for that county elected officials meeting?
I will get it to you at the end of the meeting. I didn't write it down. And then just a couple other things, notes with regards to meeting management. I take really great care to make sure everybody has a chance to speak on a topic before I let somebody else go a second time. So you'll see me writing constantly during the meeting, keeping track of that. We do ask you to stay on the topic that we're talking about. I try really hard to get that, but sometimes it sounds like I'm bullying people and I'm not really. I'm trying to keep the meeting going. So please feel free if I miss that, or if somebody says something that that offends you or is not quite right, feel free to use, the process of a point of order. Because I feel like I said, I stop things and I say, it's like, I feel like I'm hearing myself talk sometimes and so if the concern comes from a council member, sometimes I think that is taken a little bit better. So just ask that you kind of keep an eye on that. And just a reminder that ordinances and resolutions, we try to stick with our 3-touch rule. We will have a workshop on it, a first read and a second read. So nobody is surprised when an ordinance comes up. We'll have at least usually have had a workshop on it, unless it's something very minor. So that's my educational piece for tonight. I'm sure there will be more to come. So with that, I will turn it over to the city administrator for his report.
Thank you, Mayor, and city council members, both new and returning, welcome. Members of the audience, I'll try to make my report brief so we can get on to the city's business. If you look at the events and reminders, just a couple of quick things. We are at the time of the year where we typically kick off our community satisfaction survey, and the 2026 community satisfaction survey is primed and ready to go. This is our third in a series of surveys that help us confirm how we are performing in the community's eyes against our strategic plan. And so this will be an invitation will be sent out to every residential address in the city. This is a little bit different methodology than we've used in the past. From the amount of money that we saved on postage, we really didn't save all that much in time and effort and energy doing them in 3 slugs. So we're just going to send one out to every address from the get-go, and hopefully we get back enough to be able to say that we've reached that mark for statistical significance. But beyond that, we'll keep you briefed as this is unfolding. We typically hold this open so people can respond through the end of February, and then we'll start compiling results and let you know and the community know what those results are. The mayor mentioned the legislative session. The 2026 session begins on Monday, January 12th. Last year, we did what was called an advocacy workshop with members of the community that we enlisted to help us advocate for our legislative priorities. We won't be doing that this year because it's a short session. We do plan to resume that workshop in advance of the long sessions, but with the short session, that's just really a tough lift. The other thing that I'll point out here is that for the second year now consecutively, we will have the benefit of an intern from Gonzaga Law to help us analyze these pieces of legislation as they flow through the process. Makes it a little bit easier to report and get updates to the council and the community as things are going through the process. Martin Luther King holiday is coming up on Monday, January 19th, so City Hall and the library will be closed in observance of that. And then the mayor mentioned city action days. This is January 21st and 22nd. Registration is still open. I don't know how many seats they have remaining, but if you are interested in attending, let us know fairly quickly so we can get that reserved for you. And Rochelle and I can help you with that if you reach out to us. Before we move on to the other agenda items or the other report items, are there questions about those events? Yes, sir.
Okay, Councilmember Klingler.
So on the survey,
this is kind of a general question about strategy to prompt people or encourage them to return on it so that we do have a better statistical, reliability so we can make some informed decisions. Are there any incentivizations that we've tried in the past? Have we thought about doing that with this survey to kind of bring people in?
We sent Councilmember Dunn door to door with a baseball bat. But
It would send mine in if we did.
But that didn't work. No, all seriousness, we have not done that this year, however. We are attempting to, without, in a de minimis way, do some incentivization, which you'll see on the invitation. And it's essentially randomly selecting people who have completed the survey to get some simulator time over at Trailhead. So some minimal level of incentivization associated with the upcoming 2026 survey.
We get guys to participate.
We actually have a broad, diverse clientele over there.
Yeah. I had a follow-up question, just totally escaped my mind. So is this going to be advertised ahead of it so that people know that, or will it just be part of the survey itself?
So yes, there was an article in the Splash that just came out a few days ago that was promoting it. We'll do our typical promotions. This is part of that. We'll do social media outreach. We'll rely in some way on the Community Engagement Commission to, through their respective circles, get that word out. And then continue to talk about it in either podcast or website advertisements and alerts, those kinds of things.
Thanks, Mark.
Councilmember Dunn.
I'd also say it's just a great opportunity for us as council members to extend in the circles and networks of people that just to encourage friends and neighbors that you're able to reach out to say, hey, did you get that survey? Yeah, did you give it in? So don't hesitate to do that with the people that you know.
Right.
All right. Home for the Holidays wrap up real quickly. I've got David's name on this, but I'll just go ahead and work through it so we can eliminate that transition up at the podium. Just a couple of updates. We're actually going to have a after action meeting tomorrow to talk about what went well, what we can improve going into next year. But I just wanted to take a quick opportunity here to talk about those folks that did participate, and then who the winners of a couple of the events were. The Battle of the Branches, unfortunately, this was cut a little bit short because of some severe weather. We'll work to kind of improve that going into next year. But the Liberty Creek Artists tree was the winner of the Battle of the Branches this year, and we want to give a special thanks to Banner Bank, who sponsored the $200 prize that goes to Liberty Creek Artists. Moving on to the Deck the Homes contest. This was a light up contest that people could register, decorate their homes, and then they were judged. The King family on Blue Ridge Avenue is the winner of Deck the Homes. And we want to also give a special thanks to Idaho Central Credit Union for sponsoring the $200 prize for the Deck the Homes winner. And then finally, the library returned 130 letters from Santa to kids throughout the community. And that was a great response, I think, for a first year program. And so just from a general perspective, high level, Home for the Holidays, although it was our first year and it was something new, I think it went over very well. We got a lot of positive feedback. Obviously, there are things that we can look at to improve, and we will do that and look forward to next year. Any questions about that?
I just wanted to say thanks to all the residents and the staff and the volunteers who helped with that, and Liberty Lake Better Together for continuing to help support the tree, among other things.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Ball.
Oh, I just want to make a comment on the Blue Ridge Avenue one. Is that the one with the two huge deer and Santa on the roof and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure it
It's
is.
nodding his head.
Yeah, it was not too far from my house and it was spectacular. Yeah, it was a good one.
And now I'm going to ask our Public Works Director, Ben Turner, to come up. We've given this presentation before, but because we have several new council members and we will be bringing an action item on the January 20th agenda, we want to take the opportunity to let everyone know the current status report on the City Hall project. Ben?
I was gonna say that, but Mark beat me to it. A lot of you have probably already seen this brief, as Mark said, just gonna give you a quick overview. I know last time Amanda did it, she did a lot better than I will. Just gonna kind of go through the floor plans, some of the renderings that we saw. I know some of you have probably seen this before that weren't on council, but you didn't have a chance to comment, so this is your opportunity as well. So this is the front. Really the only thing to update on this slide is we are looking at an alternate bid item if we have the funds available to put a canopy out there in the front entrance there, right by that where that blue car is. So that's really the only thing I would share with this one. Next slide should be the floor plan. Okay, we're doing it like that. All right. No problem.
There we go.
All right, so this is the floor plan. It really opens up into a quite a bit larger lobby. You figure that could be done. That could be used for either receptions, lots of room for art. To the right of the front entrance, those are some public conference rooms. Those could be used for public meetings. I know some of those are held in the library now. Really open to the public if they need those meeting rooms. They could use those as well. Then you enter into the council chambers straight away. About twice the size of this room, so we'll be able to accommodate roughly 60 regular seating. It can be up to 100, I think, if we were to fill in all the chairs, but most likely it'll be set at 60 unless we have a special topic to discuss. And then that's the side of the street, that's the front facing on Mission Avenue. So that's all the public spaces are kind of in the front, and then you get all the workspaces in the back. Most of this design was really tied around the existing restrooms and plumbing. So that's kind of why we had to do it this way. So you've got access to those public restrooms. If anybody's ever been in Legacy Church, those are kind of staying in the same location. We're going to be adding some additional restrooms on the private side right next to it. And then in the left bottom corner, that's community development, the Lisa Keys group. In the top left-hand corner, that's really the executive suite where city administrator, the mayor's office would be, as well as some other executive functions. And then right to the right of that would be the finance office. And then IT right there in the middle for Shane. All right, next slide. This next slide is really just a reflected ceiling plan. That we'll just keep going on that one because we can see it better in the renderings anyway. And feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have any questions on this. So this is the material palette that BCRA helped us decide. Really a kind of a beachy theme. We're a lake community, so a lot of blues and kind of light browns. Very sustainable, very robust materials that hopefully last for a long time, so that we can maintain those and not have to replace them year after year after year. But really kind of a blue, beachy tones is kind of what we were going for. Next slide. All right, so this is a view from those public council rooms, or sorry, public conference rooms, council chambers on the right, looking towards the permit desk in the far back there. So this is, you can see some art on the walls. There's also quite a bit of room for if we wanted sculpture art, things that we could set up, not necessarily just on the walls, but just lots of opportunities to do that. One of the big challenges with this project is there's only windows on really 1.5 sides. So we've kind of left this public space as a lot of the light areas so that we can get as much light into the building as possible. And so that's kind of what some of the design choices we made were because of that, because we don't make a lot of new openings in the building. There are some on the back side, so that we can get some light in on those back corners that could get a little dark, but no skylights or anything like that. But some of the choices we were making. Next slide, which should be another reception. So this is looking back from the permit counter towards the public entrance to the conference rooms. There's the public restrooms on the left. And just so you know, all of these furniture choices have not been made. These are all notional furniture choices. We'll be doing that as a separate effort here once we get the project awarded. Keep going down here, Shane. We decided this made a lot more sense right before Christmas, but the Christmas tree picture is still in there. Big tall ceilings. The building right now has 20-foot ceilings all the way up to the top of the building. We don't plan on going all the way up that high, but this is roughly a 12-foot, I believe about a 12-foot ceiling, maybe a little bit higher than that here at the top. Next slide. This is just another one without the Christmas tree. Let's keep going. Always bundled up for Christmas. So this is the council chamber looking at the back corner towards the dais. We've got Shane's station over there on the left. We've got a staff table in the front. Let's see, you've got a curved wall in the back that should help with sound attenuation so we can hear each other really well. Nice big Liberty Lake logo, lots of big monitors. Those monitors coming down from the ceiling, those really stop about at a 9 foot level. So I asked them, can I walk under those? And they said yes. So we all, the rest of you should be good. going. And this is looking back from the dais towards the audience. You've got a little podium there that can move around. You can see the staff table just to the right of that. And one more. And we do have spots for cats to hang out just in case. Let's see. So this is more private space. So this is really the executive suite. You see some furniture there in the center there. It's kind of Mark's office there on the corner. And so this is right now just showing furniture, but this is also enough open space as when we expand as a city and we need more cubicle space, we can also put, I think we can put at least 4 pretty good sized cubicles where that furniture is right now. And this is the community development, really the permit desk counter right behind the permit desk. So nice and public space. That was one of the things that we really listen to community development. They want, we've got a kind of a shared permit counter right now with our reception area. So they'll have their own area, but they also have some reception capabilities there as well. But it's a lot more open. It's also open to the offices in the back there as well. So lots of open space. People can see what's going on. If they need help, they can come see. If there's somebody waiting at the counter, you can see them from the back, just for somebody had to step away for a moment. So that was one of the considerations. That's also one of the reasons that built-in furniture is kind of lower. At one point we had a wall, but we lowered that so that we have better visibility for the actual counter. All right. So this is just looking the other way back towards the community development area, and that furniture there in the middle, just like the executive suite, that could also be room for extra cubicles and things like that in case we need to hire additional staff, depending on where the city's going in the next several years. You have a staff entrance there as well. This is the just right off the council chamber. This is where executive session really. It's the council it's council's conference room, for lack of a better term. So this is where you could have you would hold your exec session. It's just right off the council chamber is just on the other side of that wall on the right. And this is just another space. I think that's the door to our IT room right there. We just got some open space that we could use as, collaboration space, things like that. That looks into the kind of the finance area and like city treasurer, things like that. So that's looking into their space as well. I think I'm starting to run out of them. Here's the break room in the central. So unfortunately, we couldn't get any outside windows to the break room, but a lot of us don't really spend that much time in there. But it's just kind of a central area that people can come and have their lunch, things like that. All right, and that is the last one to show you.
Does anybody have any questions for Ben?
Comments, concerns? It's a little late to move walls, but some stuff still on too.
No, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to, you've done a really, really good job, and having been part of 3 city halls, you got one shot.
Oh yeah, that's what.
And it's just, it takes a lot of planning, a lot of detail, and things you would never think about come up. So you guys are doing a great job.
And this will accommodate, I did the math, this will accommodate without putting in extra cubicles and things like that, about 40 staff. And I think we have about a little over 24 staff in this building right now. So it really allows us to have more folks come to this meeting, as well as have and we have synergy with being right next to the police department. So it's really kind of an ideal situation for the city. I think it's going to serve us well for many, many years.
Okay. Well, we look forward to the action item at the next meeting.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And then finally, there's been several mentions of dashboards. Coincidentally, we have another item to talk about. We've talked about this before. We've launched this. We want to give you some insight so that not only you can go and take a look at it, but as people hopefully are viewing it, wanting to know what it's about, asking you questions, you'll be better equipped to kind of provide feedback and then let us know if there are things that we need to look at. So if you think about we just went through our budget process, budget was adopted. If you think back farther than that, the council adopted a strategic plan that is intended to cover 2024 through 2028. And then annually we adopt a budget to execute the strategic plan. This results dashboard is really an opportunity for us now to show the return on the investment. The budget piece through our priority-based system is the investment piece. We're intending for the results dashboard to be the return on investment piece. Last year, we spent several meetings bringing what we called program profiles before the council to let you know from a programmatic perspective in our budget, what the investment piece looked like, how it was associated with services that are provided, activities, projects, those kinds of things. And so this information, which is now available on our website, and we'll continue to update it as we go forward, is just an example to show you what it looks like and how it's presented. So it is arranged by program so that it corresponds with our priority-based budget and our strategic plan. And you'll see there that in this particular case, the program that we're highlighting is the crime prevention program, which is most aligned to our strategic plan. And you'll see both the 2025 budget in terms of both dollars and FTE, which is full-time equivalent, essentially people, and the 2024 budget. And the reason that we're showing those two budgets is because right now, this, especially when you see the quarterly results, which are down on that second visual there, we're giving you a 5-quarter spread so that you can always see the comparative previous quarter of the most current quarter. And so we've just ended 2025, calendar year 2025. At our next council meeting, you will have the departmental reports distributed to you. And that is when we have the timelines for all of these metrics to be updated. So we anticipate being able to update this for the fourth quarter of 2025 by the next council meeting. And so you will see a new quarter show up on all of these dashboards. And so the way that people are going to be orienting toward this is seeing what the program is, what the result that we intend to deliver, which are listed there. And then each result is kind of proven out by one or more metrics. And this one, like I said, is in the crime prevention program. And we've got a metric associated with the result that people will feel safer. And that's a specific question in our satisfaction survey that we talked about a little bit earlier. And you can see the result from the 2024 survey, and then again from the 2025 survey, showing that metric that is tied to that result. And again, the same result we're covering in the second visual. People feel safer, and you see that represented by the metric of crime rate. And so you see both a crime rate against property, that's the green line on top, and crime rate against persons, which is the blue line on bottom. There is also a note page, and so you can see on this particular visual 100-2, there is a note associated with that. And what that note will tell you is that we're calculating the rate based on a per capita calculation of 1,000 residents. So for every 1,000 residents, the way to look at this is in quarter 3 of 2025, we had essentially 0.8 crimes against persons per 1,000 residents for that quarter. And this would be the theme going throughout all of these dashboards. We currently have, I believe, 9 programs represented. We have a total of 66 programs in the city. Not all of them are most or more aligned. The plan right now is to get the most and more aligned programs represented in the dashboard and then move on from there. And so as you can tell, we have some work to do, but like I said before, we are going to update this regularly so that we start to fill in all 66 of those programs eventually so people can see what the return on their investment is. I will email you the URL link so you can take a look at this yourself. And then, like I said, we are using this and hoping this turns into a conversation, right? It's not just static numbers on a page. We want people to say, hey, did you think about this? What does this number mean? So that we can start talking about how all of this relates back to not only our budget, but also our strategic plan. And so are there any questions about all of that before we move on? Awesome. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Oh, great. Thanks, Mark. A lot of good information. We have no workshop items for tonight, so that brings us to the consent agenda. So obviously we don't have a mayor pro tem tonight, and given the experience, Councilmember Dunn and I kind of talked, and he's going to help out leading some of our motions, through the rest of the agenda.
Sure, Madam Mayor, I'd like to introduce general business item 10A, meeting minutes.
Well, so if we just want to do it as a whole, if you want to
Oh,
move the
excuse me.
consent agenda.
Yeah, to
including-
reflect all of section 10, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Okay, so quick, so motion to approve consent agenda with the exception of items B, J, and M. Okay, do we have a second? for that?
Second.
We have a second by Councilmember Severs. Those in favor of approving the consent agenda as motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. That takes us, skip ahead a couple pages here. Yep. So first up, we have what was general business 10B.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move to approve what was the general business 10B now into action.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, obviously discussion, Councilmember Ball, you're the one who asked to
Right.
move this.
So I want some clarification on why are we giving Liberty Launch, which is a private school, $1,047.50 for a field house edition?
We're not. Kyle, would you like to address that one?
So yeah, this payment is to parametrics, and so the city is a pass-through for these funds, and so we require a plan review. And so that's conducted. We require certain items during that review to be completed, and then they bill us, we bill that dollar amount back to Liberty Launch Academy as part of their permit approval process.
Okay, so I still don't understand the.
What item is it on the vouchers?
Oh gosh, it's on page 23 of the packet.
Okay, hold on a second, I'm getting there. I'm trying to find. Yeah, so, okay, so it's on page 23,
Right.
voucher of 6740. The check is actually made out to parametrics. We are paying parametrics
Mhm.
for the work they do, for plan review, for Liberty Launch, just like we would have for any other business. The business pays us a fee, we pay parametrics.
So this would be 100% cost recovery.
Yeah, so Liberty Launch has paid us that same amount.
Okay, no, I understand. Okay, I understand that, but I guess, I mean, is this, we don't do this all the time.
Yeah.
We do?
We do.
Okay.
So if I can interject, so based on volume and capacity, we have on-call engineering resources, we have on-call planning resources. And so when volume in our development services, our community development department in the development review process gets overloaded,
Mhm.
we have these in place so that we can trim off those peaks of volume. This is one of those cases where when whatever development is being requested or permitted goes through the review. In this case, the review was accomplished by parametrics. It
Oh,
has
I
an
see.
associated fee. So Liberty Launch paid us the fee and we in turn
Okay.
passed it through to parametrics.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Great, all right, so if there's no other questions on vouchers, do we have a motion to approve? Oh, that was it, okay. Yeah, so those in favor of approving what was general business consent agenda B, the December 22nd, 2025 and January 6th, 2026 vouchers, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. So the next one would be, what was M?
No, Jane.
Jane.
Oh.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to introduce formally item 10J, memorandum of understanding with Spokane County for the removal of locust trees on Sprague Avenue.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Councilmember Severs.
Great.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
You have the
Yeah,
floor.
I had asked that this be added to action. I specifically support the action. I have no contest to it. I just want the community to recognize what the action is being taken. Ben Turner was really helpful in describing, these are the locust trees on the north side of Sprague Avenue from Moulter through, I guess, would you say the Liberty Lake Clubhouse? So these trees are, would you say 50 years old or greater?
So all the research we found was they were planted at sometime in the sixties.
Okay.
And they've been basically a safety hazard since 2010.
Yeah.
That's the first like official complaints we could find on the record.
I recognize the utility and the importance of tree removal here in support of improvements along Sprague Avenue. I think is a fundamental part of our stormwater improvements specifically. And I also think it's really important that the community recognize these trees will be replaced in that project. So, yes, it will be difficult, I think, for the community to accept the removal of these trees, but it's important to recognize that they'll be replaced. And maybe, Ben, if it's possible to get a concept rendering of what those future trees might look like, it would be helpful.
Yeah, we actually just talked to Parametrics about that project this afternoon. So we will be widening the road a little bit as part of that project. So we can look what we can do. And we actually lost one of the trees on the last wind event we had. So now we're down to 50, I think, instead of 51. And just so we're right now of those 50 trees, 30 are dead or dying. Really, this agreement was basically for us to take care of the other 20 financially, and it just makes more sense to do it all at once. So that's why we're coming to you now. Like we'd already reached out to the county because those 30 trees were a safety issue. So we had reached out to them several months ago via code enforcement. And this is kind of how this is the resolution we came to once we'd met with them.
Great. I wanted to test my knowledge and trivia for you, Ben. The Sprague Avenue represents the boundary of our city to the south. And in an unusual moment, it is not actually the center line of Sprague Avenue that is that boundary, right?
No, it's actually the southern part of Sprague. So it's really in front of everybody's lawn. It's the city boundary. So we have all of that street to take care of.
That's not usually the case in roadway, boundaries within municipalities.
Most people don't realize that. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
And one more jog on the memory, there are locust trees on the border of the south side of that roadway.
There are
trees in the city's right of way.
Technically, yes, they are on residence property. So if we wanted to remove those as well, we'd probably have to work that out with each individual resident, just like we would do any other frontage improvement project.
I mean, to be clear, this project does not include removal on the south side.
It does not.
But it's an important observation that the trees on the south side are also within the city's right of way.
And we may come to the point when we get a little farther along with the design that some of those trees may need to go because they're awful close to the asphalt in some cases.
All right.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay. Any questions or comments, Councilmember Ball?
Yeah, Ben, I'm just curious. So the houses on the south side of Sprague there, are they considered Liberty Lake or the county?
No, they're town.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, as soon as you hit the south edge of that pavement,
Yeah.
that's county. All
Okay.
right, any other questions or comments on this one? All right, not hearing any. Those in favor of approving the memorandum of understanding with Spokane County for the removal of locust trees on Sprague Avenue, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. We are on to 10M.
Yeah. Madam Mayor, I move item 10M now 11. Annual subscription to the police department use of flock safety cameras and software in the amount of $64,855.
All right, and we have, thanks for the second. Thank you. We have Chief Simmons on the line. I don't know, Chief, if you want to go ahead and address things, or do you want to wait? You want to start with questions from council?
I can go ahead and address some things, Madam Mayor.
Be great.
Maybe it'll answer some of those questions.
Super.
So if I may take about 5 to 10 minutes, if you would allow that just to do a quick review of our flock camera system and why we use it and exactly what it is. But
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very obviously huge topic, so let's take whatever time you need.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Madam Mayor, again, members of the council and citizens of Liberty Lake. First of all, thank you for voicing your concerns over LPR technology as a whole. Understand that your concerns are legitimate concerns, and I'd like to take the time to do a few things tonight. Number one, I want to dispel any false narratives concerning LPR technology and specifically the flock LPR technology that we use. Second, I'd like to conduct a quick review of the flock LPR technology that our agency and our employees used, and to testify to the council and to the citizens on how beneficial that technology has been, not only for our officers, but for the community as a whole. And then I understand there's some concerns over the Skagit County ruling and some potential upcoming legislation. And I want to take just a few minutes to talk potentially on what that can look like moving forward because right now there's a lot of things up in the air. So I'd like to begin by first touching on the University of Washington study on LPR use in Washington State. When I was working on my dissertation for my doctorate degree, one of my professors in a quantitative analysis course told me that you have to remember one thing that Mark Twain once said. There are three types of lies: lies, damn lies, and statistics. So I'm really careful when I read those. And it's my opinion that there are several things that were reported in that study that are a little bit misleading. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later and how I believe that that may lead to a primacy effect or anchoring bias when it comes to people's opinions on LPR technology. But just a quick review on flock technology. What do we get with our flock cameras? Well, we get a tool that's objective. It gives us real-time investigative leads. That's number one. Number two, there's two things that our flock cameras detect. That's vehicle details and license plates. That is it. It doesn't detect anything else. It is indiscriminate, and we have those at fixed locations. It doesn't detect people, as we've seen lately, because our cameras have been tampered with. You can stand in front of one of those cameras all day long and will not take a picture of your face at all. No facial recognition involved with them, and it's not involved in traffic enforcement at all. So how does this technology prevent or eliminate crime? It gives us proactive real-time alerts on suspicious vehicles and vehicles that that's called hot list vehicles. And that's vehicles that are associated with things like warrants, missing persons, persons of interest, terrorist suspects, etc. So those things that we normally see if we run a plate manually in NCIC and we get a hit, we get that automatically, and it is consistently looking at those license plates. Now, as a side note, I looked at the data. I've looked at the data every month, but I believe at the end of January, or near the end, not January, excuse me, November, we had over 1 million unique plate reads in Liberty Lake. What that means is that one license plate was read one time. It wasn't a repeated vehicle that comes through. That is a unique one-time read. 1 million unique reads. So over 1 million vehicles used our roads that the flock cameras could detect. And I'm sure there's a little discrepancy there because sometimes it doesn't pick up vehicles. Flock cameras act as a deterrent. Again, we've seen that lately because our criminals are starting to move those so that it doesn't detect vehicles coming through. It's a great investigative tool, and our clearance rates have increased exponentially. And we have numerous success stories. As a matter of fact, our crime analyst just prepared a report for Spokane County Sheriff's Office, Real-Time Crime Center, on success stories as part of this support for LPR technology in our county. And I believe there was 40 or 41 significant success stories, if I can remember. And I have an example here of about 3 that I pulled out that are pretty significant that I could tell you about towards the end of this discussion. So the technology, again, it's LPR. It's a license plate recognition device. It gathers objective evidence and facts about vehicles, not people. You don't get vehicle registration information. You don't get names. You don't get faces. You only get a picture of a license plate and the back of a vehicle, the rear of a vehicle. That is it. That is all you get. So the actual data that's associated with it, compared to other databases that we use, is minimal. Probably one of the most minimal pieces of data or pieces of technology that we use as far as getting information to help us with investigations and real-time information that we need concerning people that we contact. It's used to solve crimes, and again, it adheres to all state laws. So what the tech isn't, it isn't something that is violating any state laws. It is not tied to any personally identifiable information at all. None. No PII whatsoever. It's not used for immigration or traffic enforcement. I want to stop and touch on that for a few minutes, actually. I understand that there's been concerns nationally about federal agencies using LPR technology for immigration purposes, which is technically a civil issue. Understand that in Washington State, we are forbidden by law as local agencies in getting involved with immigration, civil immigration related laws. To answer the question on whether or not any federal agencies currently use our LPR technology, no. Have federal agencies in the past used our LPR technology? Yes. And I will explain to you why. I believe the American public has forgotten that federal agencies and even the Border Patrol investigate a lot of criminal related issues. The FBI, postal inspectors, there are a plethora of federal agencies out there. Our understanding before revoking that use of by federal agencies was that they were going to use the LPR technology to investigate criminal offenses only. After the issue came up with immigration related topics or immigration related issues, we revoked. We went in, made sure that we revoked all federal agency access to our LPRs. And we've done that, and we monitor that. I conduct an audit every month or so, not only on external use, but also internal use of our LPR technology by other agencies. We do have other agencies that use our cameras, all local agencies. When and this is a great example of, I think, one of the misleading facts in that study. Anytime an agency anytime an agency period, whether it's us using our own LPR technology, our own flock system, or an outside agency accesses the cameras. If you do a search for a vehicle, there's a couple of things you have to do. You can't just willy-nilly go in and search for a vehicle. You have to put in a reason for that. It has to be a criminal reason to search for the vehicle. That information, that data is recorded and documented in several ways. So if I look internally and externally on who's using the cameras and why, it will give me a date and time that a camera was accessed, which camera or cameras were accessed by that agency, and not only that agency, the person who's looking up that information, the reason, and whether or not there's any other searches involved with that particular license plate or that case. And you can also put in case numbers. So often those agencies will put in their case number. So if we have any questions as to why they're accessing cameras, we can contact that agency and say, hey, yeah, it's in reference to this particular case number. So yes, we do have local agencies accessing those cameras. It is easily traceable. And one of the most important things right now, and this may change with upcoming legislation, is that data is automatically deleted every 30 days. It's gone, which is a good thing, but sometimes, depending on when people are reporting crimes, it could be a hindrance as well. The footage is owned by the city. It is never sold or shared by Flock. Again, 30-day retention period is deleted. That short retention period ensures that all data not associated with crime is automatically deleted and unrecoverable. It takes the human bias out of solving crime by detecting objective data and detecting events that are objectively illegal. For instance, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just coughed.
Oh, no, okay, I'm sorry. So, for instance, sometimes we are accused of things like profiling and picking out particular vehicles to stop for whatever reason that people think we're looking, whether it's racial profiling or whatever. It takes that out of it. Is the plate reported stolen or the car reported stolen or not? Yes, if it is and it's an NCIC, it will show on one of the cameras as it comes through as a stolen vehicle. That is objective data that we act on. It takes that human bias portion out of it. All data is stored securely on a AWS government cloud system. Again, we talked about search reasons and the audit trail. In my opinion, there's a great audit trail. One of the things that is not here in my notes is one of the citizens talked about multi-factor or multi-factor authentication. Yes, we use multi-factor authentication. As a matter of fact, we use multi-factor authentication just for about everything because the system we're on with the county and Shrek, it is a policy that anything that's going through those systems has to have multi-factor authentication. So yes, we've used multi-factor authentication with Flock for some time. Again, not facial recognition software. It's not used for traffic enforcement. There's end-to-end encryption on all data. No personally identifiable information is contained. I mentioned that. And it's not connected or registered to any third-party data sharing entities. So that information is not shared at all. There was a concern in closing. There's two other things I want to just touch on. There was a concern about misuse by law enforcement officers. Believe me, Flock is the last thing you should be worried about law enforcement officers misusing to stalk their ex-wife. Or we have databases that have way more information and that require way more annual education and signatures and things like that to use. So Flock is at the bottom of the barrel, in my opinion, for concerns about misuse. There's just not a lot of data there as far as from a law enforcement officer. And understanding that, honestly, you can use Google these days to find out anything about anyone. So it's a little bit of a weird concern, but I do understand that. The Mark mentioned the fact that right now our crime rate is about 0.8 per thousand, I believe. Understand that there is a return on investment with Flock. That return on investment is keeping that crime rate at that rate or lower. It's such a great tool. We've solved so many crimes. Again, I have a whole packet of crimes that we've solved using the Flock cameras, and that's just over the last 2 years. There's some that are probably not there. If you eliminate that tool from our toolbox, it is going to have a significant effect on public safety. I want you to understand that. If you take that tool away, it will have a significant effect on public safety. Again, I understand the concerns, but it is a significant tool in our toolbox for investigations, and not only investigations, officer safety. As a reminder, we've detected 3 homicide suspects in Liberty Lake using that Flock technology, one of which had a shootout with Coeur d'Alene, and we just happened to see if he was in fleeing, if he came through Liberty Lake, not through on I-90, but came through Liberty Lake, which he did. So that alerted our officers that their head needs to be on a swivel because we have a dangerous individual in town. And in closing, just 3 success stories because I know I've taken a lot of your time. Here's one from June of 23 where we arrested an assault second with sexual motivation and a rape second degree suspect, dangerous person, detected using that our Flock camera system. Here's another one where, you may remember this one from November of 23. We had a young lady who a sexual predator attempted to lure her and get her in the car. Well, that individual had been doing that not only in Liberty Lake, but across our region, Stevens County and some other counties, and was under watchful eye of law enforcement. We were able to arrest and charge him with the attempted child abduction of that 13-year-old. And lastly, we've had numerous stolen vehicles recovered with Flock. As a matter of fact, I personally had one a couple of weeks ago. We had one, I think, 2 days ago or a day or two ago. But here's the significant one that actually I located, got in a short pursuit with, but it was a really dangerous carjacking suspect who actually was armed and tried to get into one of our schools after fleeing. So dangerous people. These tools, it is detecting. This isn't all little misdemeanor crimes. I mean, there are dangerous people out there that these cameras are detecting, and also it's helping us solve a lot of our crimes and helping us hold individuals accountable who are victimizing the citizens of Liberty Lake. And so I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks so much, Chief. We appreciate it. So I will we'll open the floor up for questions or discussion with the council. Don't everybody raise your hand at once. If you'd like to go first, I think we've got Councilmember Ball and Councilmember Darrow.
Yeah, so I was the one that wanted this pulled out. So what I'm concerned about, I mean, this is an article that just came out very recently in the Washington, what is this called? Standard. Says here at least 16 states regulate the readers. Okay, we don't. A report out of UW found several local police departments authorize U.S. Border Patrol to use their license plate reader databases. In other cases, Border Patrol had backdoor access without permission. In some instances, police conducted searches on behalf of the federal agency. So, Chief, I think, our department, I have no concerns, that you aren't, that you're doing something nefarious, but how do we keep these other agencies like this backdoor access, getting permission, somehow getting into our flock system and using it for nefarious reasons? That concerns me. And then also, Senator Yasmin Trudeau plans to, in this session, promote a bill that, again, would only keep the data for 72 hours. So how does that, it says the proposed legislation 72-hour limit came as a compromise after researching laws in 16 other states and speaking with law enforcement members and civil rights advocates, including the ACLU, Washington State Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. So I just am not sure how we proceed, knowing that something is going to come up in this session that could change all this. So, I mean, these are the things that I'm kind of like concerned about.
Okay, let me answer the first question first, and I was kind of focused on the second part, the backdooring. I can't comment on that because I don't know how that was done. I mean, I don't know. It's the federal government. I can't answer that question. I mean, if we're going to talk about that, I mean, people hack systems all the time. If we talk about hackers, or I can't answer that question, so I'm not going to begin to answer that question. I don't believe that's ever happened with us. Again, you have to remember that I know their name is the Border Patrol, but having been on a federal task force, the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, with Border Patrol agents who are on that, and ICE agents who are on that task force, who that's all they do is full-time is Internet Crimes Against Children and human trafficking, and those are criminal offenses. And so federal agencies investigate criminal offenses. The civil immigration part is just a small part of what they do. And so again, when our understanding was you're going to use that technology for those specific purposes. When the issues came up, which I don't believe any of our cameras were ever used for immigration purposes, but we eliminated the chance that could happen by just eliminating their access. I personally have never heard of anyone backdooring flock. So I don't know where they got that. That was a statement that they put in a small article without a lot of data to back it up or tell us exactly what happened. So I can't comment on that. And your second question, I don't want to play with a crystal ball and try to guess what's going to happen at the next legislative session. I remind you, back in 2020 or 2021, our legislature passed a plethora of really bad police legislation, reform legislation that they had to go back and correct. So our legislature has a history of making, and I mean this respectfully, some really bad choices sometimes when it comes to criminal justice. I can't do anything about that. What I can do is deal with what we have now. It is a perfect tool, and I'm not going to guess what's going to happen. I will say that specific senator initially wanted to get rid of LPRs altogether. That was the original bill. Altogether. You weren't supposed to use them at all. So apparently something has changed. It's changed a little of that. And I believe that and not making an assumption, but I'm going to make an assumption that the fact is this is a wonderful tool, number one. It's also used at our toll locations, even though we don't have any around here. So that would affect the state of Washington tremendously at toll locations. And it's also used in other different government functions as well. So there's a lot more than just your typical criminal justice related issues at play here. The 72-hour thing, will it affect us? Yes. Is it something we can work with? Yes. Because again, we have two different things. We have kind of our initial reactive actions as far as getting an initial flock hit. I mean, that is about 50% of what we use it for. The other 50% is follow-up investigations. We will have to find some sort of way that we are, whether it's the initial responding officers or whoever is pulling, data immediately, and they're not waiting on the detective to do it. I mean, that's something through policy and procedure that we would have to address. Is it workable? Yes. Can we work around it? Yes. Is it optimal? No. But there are a lot of things that the legislature has taken away from us in law enforcement that isn't optimal, and we've learned to assimilate to that and make it work. This is just one of many. And so, again, I don't want to try to use my crystal ball or talk to the mirror on the wall and wonder if a certain piece of legislation is. I mean, we have numerous pieces of legislation that we're concerned about again this year as law enforcement officers. I will say that the legislation that is proposed, the one that you were talking about, WASPIC, again, and for the new council members, I am on the executive board with the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Chiefs of Police. I am the treasurer, and so pretty heavily involved in WASPIC. The decision was made actually not to push the LPR issue with the piece of legislation that you mentioned, because there are actually some good things there, especially when we talk about the Skagit County ruling. But there are also those concerning things like the 72-hour rule. So it's from that standpoint, honestly, it wasn't concerning enough that WASPIC wanted to push the issue as much as they have in the past with some other pieces of legislation that we didn't agree with or we thought wasn't conducive to public safety. But there are some concerns. But again, I don't believe that as long as it isn't taken away from us completely anything else, I believe if we have to work with it, we'll have to work with it. And we've done it before. We've done it with pursuits. We've done it with use of force. We did it with, again, the reasonable suspicion versus probable cause. I can go on and on and on. It's historically in the state of Washington, especially within the last 6 years, it's a trend. And so this is just another one of those things that we're just hurdles that we're going to have to figure out how to navigate.
Okay. Do you have any follow-up?
Thank you,
questions?
Chief.
Okay, great. Summer, I think you.
Yeah,
Councilmember
thanks.
Darrow, sorry.
I appreciate your report. I just have two really quick questions. The first is, are you satisfied with the amount and placement of the cameras currently?
Yeah, we our cameras are placed at strategic locations. They serve us well. We've looked at potentially some other locations, but the locations that we've identified, we'll have to work with some landowners because they're on private property. The county, again, just threw up, I don't know, 100 and some extra cameras, which, excuse me, really helps. There was a black hole in the valley. The valley has them now, which has helped out tremendously because vehicles were disappearing into the valley. But our cameras, our locations are great. Again, we've located a couple of places, but those are places we'll have to work with landowners and property owners to see if they would come up with some kind of understanding or agreement that we can place a camera there because it'd be beneficial.
Okay, thanks. And just finally for me, you mentioned people tampering with them. Can you speak on that a little bit? Or I'm kind of playing catch up a little bit here too. I'm not sure what happens budget wise when we're replacing equipment, et cetera. So
I'm sorry, I was coughing and I missed the beginning of that. My apologies.
Just speak on people tampering with them currently and what that looks like budget wise replacing equipment.
So I'd have to double check and maybe DC can, if he's there, he can touch on that because he's been handling, this is new to us and he's been handling that portion. So maybe he has a little bit more on that and I don't want to mislead you there. So if DC's available, maybe he can
Yes.
comment.
He's here now. Thank you.
I'm here. Thanks, Chief. So we did have, recently we had some people that were tampering with the actual equipment itself and turning the cameras away from the roadways and walking up to, like Chief was talking about, we have no way of knowing who it was because we have no identification figures off of them. So they just had some footprints in the snow and in the mud showing that they were up there and tampering with equipment, turning them whichever way they wanted to do just to get them away from the roadway. We had our guys go out there and actually try to put those back in place. We have the flock notification out letting us know that we had a couple of cameras that were moved and changed a little bit. So if they can have a tech come out and fix those for us, they are in the process of doing that now. The only other camera that we had that was down or affected as damaged, we had an accident here in the intersection of Liberty Lake and Country Vista where one of our camera poles was completely taken out because the vehicle hit it. So that one's been also in the process of being replaced. And that's all taken care of through the flock system.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Klingler.
I just wanted to say, Chief, thank you once again. You do an amazing job of presenting information to this body. I've had the pleasure of listening to you on several occasions, and I always appreciate how thorough and in-depth you are and how you kind of predict the questions that are going to be asked. You covered all of the concerns that I had, except for maybe one, and that's around, what kind of actions are taken, what is a penalty if there's misuse of the data or it's shared in a way that is counter to what the law allows.
Are you specifically referring to misuse by our personnel?
Yeah, basically anybody,
We can only account for our personnel. So if there was, there's a couple of things there. You're going to have policy violations and you're going to have potential misuse of that information is gathered through WASIC, the Washington Criminal Information Center, and the National Crime Information Center, NCIC. So, and I would have to check with the prosecutor, but my opinion would be that would be misuse of the NCIC and WASIC systems, along with policy violations. So, if that was one of our officers who was misusing that system for any reason, one of the first things we're going to do is, if it's criminal, we would have to consult with an outside agency to handle the criminal case. And so we would, if it was one of our officers, we would be hands-free of the criminal portion or potential criminal portion of that investigation. So that and I think it would be situationally dependent on what information they got and how they used it. And if there were any other crimes like stalking, harassment, those types of things involved. And, that would be determined by the probable cause, if there was any, or lack thereof, would be determined by the investigating agency. Any policy violations that we determine have occurred in the internal investigation, we would take care of that. And so that could be, depending on the severity, that can be anything from a verbal reprimand up to termination, depending on the situation and the circumstances. If it was an outside agency, we could handle the criminal investigation, I believe, with that, and allow it would be kind of the opposite. We would handle the criminal investigation, and potentially an outside agency could handle the their portion of it, the internal. But there's some other things there too. So if it was an out-of-state agency, we would probably hand it over to a federal agency like the FBI. So, I mean, it would just kind of depend on, where the crime occurred, as far as, the person misusing the system, and, what agency they are employed by. So there could be several different things that can happen there. But ultimately, I believe it would be the misuse of the NCIC and the WASIC system, which, number one, you would get your ability to use those and your permission to use those revoked. And there's no way you can work as a law enforcement officer if you can't use NCIC and you can't use WASIC. So that's another another part of that. So, so it would be situationally dependent, but ultimately, internally up to termination and potential criminal charges by an outside agency. And for any outside agencies that are using that, if they misuse it, again, there could be potential criminal charges.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, anybody else? All right, not hearing any, thank you, Chief. So if there's no further discussion, those in favor of approving the annual subscription for police department use of flock safety cameras and software in the amount of $64,855, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, not hearing any, motion passes. All right, that brings us to our donation.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to introduce General Business Action Item 11A. I move a donation, the Rainbow Bridge Project, a donation from Popular Companions valued in the amount of $15,000.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second by Councilmember Ball. So I'm a little speechless at this huge donation. Popular Companions has been an amazing partner to this community. Jen is on. Jen, I don't know if you want to give a little bit more information about the project. I think we've talked about it a little bit in the past, but if you want to recap for our new members and for the community, that'd be great.
Sure. It's going to be a project where a bridge is installed, and the site selection has been chosen as Rocky Hill Park. Underneath the bridge will be a dry rock riverbed, and people will be able to purchase tags at Popular Companions and then hang the tags at the bridge in honor of their lost pets. It's kind of like if you have been down to the Blue Bridge at Riverfront Park, where they have the tags on the bridge. So Mara and D Scott and Mara Crowley at Popular are very passionate about this project. The Parks and Arts Commission fully supports it. We've worked with city staff to pinpoint a location. Of course, it will become the property of the city once it is installed, and we are prepared to maintain any part of it that we need to, but the installation will be all done and prepared by the folks at Popular Companions.
Fantastic. Anybody have any questions? Again, go ahead, Councilmember Sievers.
Yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful gift from these guys who've been great city supporters for a long time. So I don't want to be I want to be careful here though when we say tags that can go on here can be purchased by Popular Companions. Must they be purchased by Popular Companions?
That's a great question. We haven't had that discussion. We can bring that up. Those are details that we haven't quite lined out yet. If somebody wants to bring their own, is that going to get turned away? Probably not, but that's a great question. So I'll take that back to the group.
Thank you. I want to be careful that once it's a gift to the city that it's open to all citizens and not have to purchase things. A similar question, there was in the packet, there was information about etched stones that could be used, and its language suggested they have to be purchased for Popular Companions. Same question. Then there's also verbiage on donations and a donation box that's tied to this. Can you speak to that a little bit, Jen?
So she did not clarify that. We had a Parks and Arts Commission meeting last night, and I can follow up on that. She didn't clarify anything on that donation box. So let me clarify that and come back to you with a response.
So I, for one, would like clarity on some of these things before we accept the donation as a city.
Is that a motion to defer?
I move to defer this to the next council meeting.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so on this topic, is there any further discussion on the motion to defer to the next meeting?
Could you clarify specifically what you seek as information to support?
Yeah, so just I am unsure of where these donations are going to or who is going to be collecting donations from the donation box. I'm unsure of, that means somebody is a city staff that's handling money, or I've just got concerns there. I think it's a wonderful project. It sounds fantastic, but it sounds like some details that aren't ironed out. And I also am very concerned about a potential tie to only one business. Again, the gift is from them. I love supporting them. They're, it's all wonderful, but I don't want to have a piece of artwork in our community that a citizen thinks they must purchase a tag from one business in order to utilize this now art installation in one of our parks. So I'm sure these are very simple things, but I just want to make sure that's ironed out before we accept the gift.
Go ahead, Councilmember Fisher.
I had the same concern about the tag, because if, citizens are required to go into that specific business, they're benefiting from this donation. So I thank you for bringing that up, because I had the same concern as well. So.
All right, go ahead, Councilmember Darrow.
Just quickly, and sort of doubling down here, I just wanted to mention that also in the example picture, there was some verbiage on the sign about donations. So I also would like clarification if there is something there indicating donations specifically. Maybe I missed this in reading it. Was there no option to attach your actual tag that you have saved? Because that was my understanding, and kind of what I saw in the picture of the, again, I understand it was a example picture, but of what looked to me like the actual collar from your pet with the tag. And in my case, I know that that's what I have saved and what I've heard people carry around in their purse. So I was thinking it was more something like that. And if not, and if it's a bigger art installation that has some uniformity and isn't that fine with me as well. Again, I appreciate them and I'm excited about this donation. I just want some specifics in that same vein. That's why I seconded.
Councilmember Severs, you looked like you were gonna. Okay, all right. If there's no other comments, so those in favor of delaying this vote until the next regular meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 4-2. Rochelle, you got count? Okay. All right, so we will see this on the next meeting. Jen, I think you're clear on the questions that need to be answered, and we'll see this on the next agenda. Great, thank you. All right, we are up to council comments. Again, this is not workshops related, just any additional things that might be on your mind that you might want to bring up. A lot of times we don't have anything, but we do have it on there just in case somebody wants to weigh in on anything. Councilmember Ball, you look like you're raising your hand.
I ask when we were about Trailhead on the fees. What does the plus whatever afterward mean? It's on page 88. So, green fees, adult $29, then +4 in green off to the right.
I assume it's the amount that went up this year. Sorry.
Correct. So yeah, that's the dollar increase from 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah.
All right, so if there's no additional council comments, we don't have any public hearings or appeals. We have no resolutions. We have no ordinances. Sorry, Councilmember Severs, we'll go back. My fault.
No, I was late. On council comments, is this where you'd like me to ask about the retreat?
Workshops. It'll end up being a workshop. That's introduction of upcoming agenda items.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So no resolutions, no ordinances, no emergency ordinance, introduction of upcoming agenda items. So I will point you all to, you have the matrix on your desk of upcoming agenda items. There are dates on some who it was requested by. These things do move depending on what other things we have on the agendas. So we'll kind of go through what's on here first, and then Councilmember Severs, to your point about a retreat, Mark and I can address that. So we do have Spokane River Keeper coming up on the 20th. That was a request by Councilmember Kurtz, and I believe, I don't know, Mark, if you had a chance to go back and look at the minutes. I believe she had asked for somebody to actually come and present.
We have not reviewed the minutes, but the prevailing thought is that we're going to invite someone from the coalition to come and present during the 20th workshop.
Perfect. Pavement master plan and transportation network analysis in February. And then we have some first quarters. We've got some specific dates and then some TBDs, which we work in as much as we can. So on the retreat, Councilmember Severs, the last discussion that Mark and I had, we're looking at maybe the end of January, beginning of February. I know that's closer than we think, so it might get moved out a little bit. My desire, and obviously it is your retreat, so, and we might want to even just do a small workshop on this to go through what you guys want, but my thought was for this coming retreat was not necessarily to focus on strategic priorities and all that stuff. The best council retreat that I went to was the very first one I was part of in 2010. And it was when the council members, we sat in the chairs in the back of the room in a circle, very relaxed. We had pizza brought in and we just talked. We learned about each other's backgrounds. We learned about what makes each of us tick. We learned about where we get our values, our ideals, what drives us. And that's something the council's been lacking for many, many years, I think, is that personal relationship between our members. And I think that's something we really need to focus on because it helps us understand, people's perspectives. And I think all of you are very open-minded and willing to listen to each other. And I think having that extra depth of knowledge about each other would be a really great help in moving forward. It's also a lot harder to be mad at somebody you know on a more personal level and harder to attack each other. It's easier to keep the discussion respectful. So that's at least part of what I would like to see happen. So we are looking, and we'll probably, Mark, we'll follow up probably tomorrow in our directors meeting, maybe pull some prospective dates. We'll get a doodle poll out. And then, I said, maybe we'll add on our workshops, a 15-20-minute discussion for you guys to also talk about. And said, it's your meeting. If you don't want to do it, include what I'm talking about, that's fine. It's your meeting. But I think that is something that would be a really good part of that retreat. Does that help?
My turn?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I would second everything you just said. I think that'd be a wonderful use of time. I think there's been a lot of great work that's been done on the strategic plan. I don't think this is a new council. That doesn't mean things can't change there. Absolutely, we should be looking at that strategic plan, making sure we still agree with those priorities. But I think this is a good opportunity to what Madam Mayor is saying. Also look at that, and I also would love to use this time as an opportunity to hear from department heads. They don't necessarily need to be there, but if each department head could bring some sort of little summary that could be provided to us that says, here are things I see that I would like changed. So I greatly value what city staff can bring to the table and say, here's a policy that's been goofy for 2 years and nothing's been done about it. And so and maybe there are no reports from department heads, but maybe there are. And I think that's a great opportunity for us to talk about it and for us to talk about ideas we might have going forward. So all things that can be done, I would just strongly encourage that we get that on let's pick a date for doing it. It's probably not a Tuesday afternoon. It's historically been more like a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Let's just get the date on the books. So I don't want it to be June by the time we're doing this.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Early February or whatever works, but we all have personal schedules too. So.
And we'll review the advanced agendas as well as with the rest of these workshops again, either during tomorrow's directors meeting or Friday when Mark and I get back together and figure out when we can put on, like I said, a short workshop for you guys to discuss this further. And then in the meantime, we'll try to pick some dates and get a doodle poll out because that's usually the easiest way to find everybody's availability. We don't want everybody flipping through their calendar sitting here. So especially those of you and myself who have 3 calendars to keep track of. All right. So anything on the workshop matrix that you guys want to add, move, change, Councilmember Ball?
So this town hall on mobility, I'd like to see that happen sooner than later too, because people have been asking about, these little zips or whatever you want to call them. These people or kids are mostly riding around on. And also the governance manual, can we get to that sooner? Because we got so far on it.
Yeah. Well, now that, we wanted everybody to get a chance to get settled. We didn't want this meeting to be real heavy. We need everybody to have a chance to go through it. So yeah, we're looking at that.
Yeah, I get that. And then also, same with scraps. I'd like to get them in here as soon as possible. And where on here does it even talk about a retreat?
It's not.
Oh, okay. So this is just something.
Because it's actually not a workshop. It's a separate meeting.
Okay. I think Councilmember Severs just wants to go to Hawaii or something and get us out of here.
It'll be Papa John's because we have a stove here and and bring your own drinks.
It's gonna be fancy.
All right. Anybody else? It looks like Councilmember Dunn, you have.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to introduce council committees or small groups which support ongoing legislative actions.
Okay.
So we can have that as an upcoming workshop.
Okay. So just for clarification, obviously this is a short legislative session. Are you looking for something to be effective this year or for?
I'm referring to the
ongoing?
committees of our city council.
Okay.
Talking about groups which could support the understanding and study with department heads of
Okay.
specific subjects in advance of introductions to the city council.
Okay. All right, we'll look at that. Okay, anybody else? All right, not hearing any. We have citizen comments back. So if there's anybody in the audience, I usually say, don't everybody rush it. Yeah, normally I say, don't everybody rush at once, but holy cow. So hold on. So if there's anybody else in chambers who'd like to fill out a sheet. Oh, why am I getting reverb?
Someone's what?
All right, and then if there's anybody online, please remember to send a note to our meeting host in the chat feature. So we will turn on your timer and go.
Okay, so I hope you indulge me for just a little bit longer. I didn't get to say what I really wanted to say. And in terms of what I wanted to propose to you, and I got to say what I wanted to say, but what I wanted to really propose is that I was disappointed that the library disappeared completely out of the last budget, out of the capital facilities plan, out of future projects. Really, really disappointing after 5 years of discussion and studies and all that. And all of a sudden it disappears. So I would like it if this council would entertain whatever tools they have available to them to reintroduce the library to the future of our city and not just let it go away. Okay, too much work has been done, too much effort has been put in, and I think it does not deserve to just disappear. I also know that there are people out there who will say, well, there was a 55 to 45% vote. Well, we have 45% people that if it goes away, 45% of the population have been completely dismissed. And I don't think that's what we want to do either. So I would hope that you would give that some consideration going forward. I think the article in the splash pretty much outlined how we got to where we are. And I would just like to leave you with one little thing that I come across in my years of coaching and dealing with kids and stuff. And I try to talk to different people and kids about how to go about business. And I honor the past, maximize the present, and have impact on the future. And I think that's where we're at. I see that can happen with the new council. And I'm looking forward to great interactions and positive collaboration. And I hope you will sincerely consider putting that library back on the future of our library and the vision or of our city and the vision of our city. The library is part of that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right, do we have anybody else in chambers who'd like to make a comment? Not seeing anybody online? Okay, and with that, there's no executive session, and if there's no objections, we will adjourn at 7:58. Great start to the year.
Thank you.
There were some resonating